President-elect Trump famously skeptical over the idea the Russians meddled in our presidential election. While some are not buying his denial, we've yet to see any actual proof that they did. In fact, just moments ago, our friend and colleague Sean Hannity interviewed Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks. The interview airs tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern on this channel. But here's what he told Sean about the source of those Clinton emails. Watch.
Can you say to the American people unequivocally that you did not get this information about the DNC, John Podesta's emails? Can you tell the American people 1,000% you did not get it from Russia or
Yes.
anybody associated with Russia?
We can say, we have said repeatedly over the last 2 months that our source is not the Russian government and it is not a state party.
Interesting. There's a lot more news than interview. It's going to air tomorrow at 10 o'clock on Hannity. You heard it right there. WikiLeaks says Russia is not behind all of this. Some are not buying that. The Philadelphia Inquirer editorial board even asked, whose side is Trump on? Here now is Paul Davies. He's deputy editorial page editor of that paper. And so, Paul, thanks a lot for joining us today. So you all wrote this pretty florid editorial today, excoriating Trump for not taking this seriously. This was an attack on our democracy, on a free and fair election. How do you know exactly that Russia was behind this?
Well, the President Obama has announced it, and the intelligence communities have said that that was their assessment.
But they haven't offered any actual proof of it, and most of the accounts we've received about how they know this have been anonymously sourced. So, I mean, as a journalist, are you comfortable taking at face value the assurances of anonymous government officials about something that's important?
Well, it's not just the president and the intelligence community. I mean, Senator McCain, Senator McConnell, they've also come out. They've seemed to have heard the briefings. I obviously haven't heard the briefings. I don't think the president would be taking actions or issuing sanctions against Russia or kicking Russians out of the country if he wasn't pretty sure about the evidence.
Okay, so you just have faith that the president would not have a political motivation to do this, that nobody involved would have any other motive, that they all must be telling the truth? Is that what you're saying?
The president, they talked about this back in September. It's not before the election. Before the election, there was even talk about the Russians being involved in the hacking.
Right. So, I mean, they were mad, of course, because emails from the DNC were leaked to WikiLeaks somehow, and then emails from John Podesta's personal Gmail account were leaked, and some of those details were embarrassing. And I think it's on the basis of that people are saying this election was hacked. So which of those facts that fell into the public view do you think Americans shouldn't have known before they voted in November?
I mean, the troubling point and the point of the editorial was that if there's hacking going on and it's interfering with our elections, and another country is doing that, that's a problem. That's a problem. It undermines our democracy. And the point is, if President-elect Trump is just sort of shrugging it off and telling everybody to move on, and it's not a big issue, that is the troubling aspect. And the point is, we should have the hearings and we should get to the bottom of what happened. Yeah. And as much that can be disclosed should be disclosed.
I agree with you on pretty much everything you just said.
But the fact that the intelligence communities have said this, the intelligence communities have released this information, and I don't think they just go out and just release stuff and provoke a country just over politics. That strikes me as very strange.
That's never happened before. I mean, come on. But let me just ask you this. You said everything. I mean, I agree with you. I want to know more. We all do. But you said this affected our election, and I'm not exactly sure how. Are you suggesting that the voting machines themselves were rigged, or are you referring to those emails? And if you are referring to the emails, are you saying that we shouldn't have seen those before we voted?
If it influenced the election and caused people to vote one way or the other, that's the impact of what happened. If they're trying to get in and set the election.
How did that influence people to vote? How did that happen? I mean, you're making this allegation. Explain how it happened.
If people think that because after they read those emails that somehow they're influenced to vote one way or the other, then it influences their vote. I mean, I don't have a document that says, 10% of the people voted for Trump or voted against Clinton because of that.
Right. No, it's speculation. But so you're saying that you wish those emails, as a journalist.
The point.
No, but hold on. This is an important point. This is the point. Are you saying you wish those emails had not gone into the public sphere, that we hadn't seen those emails, that we'd had less information when we voted? Is that what you're saying?
That has nothing. That's not what we said at all in the editorial. I mean,
well, what are you saying?
I'm all for having information out there to find out The public should be fully informed, and they go to.
So why are you
vote in an
upset about
election.
what happened during the election? We got more information.
What
Why is
I'm
that bad
upset
for our
about is that
democracy?
President. What I'm upset about is that President-elect Trump, it just seems to be blowing the whole thing off and telling everybody to move on.
Well, wait a second.
Relationships and connections to Russia and his friendship with his appointment to the Secretary of State and other friends that he's appointed, and his ties and his positive assessment for Putin is what's troubling. That's the part.
But I get that you don't like Putin and you don't like Trump, but you said, and I'm reading your editorial right here, you said, instead of standing up for the bedrock of U.S. democracy, free and fair elections, then you said Trump has a cavalier attitude regarding Russia's efforts to undermine American democracy. And I just want to get right to the nub of what you are saying. How exactly, specifically, did they prevent that from being a free and fair election? How did they undermine our democracy? By telling us things that you think we shouldn't have known?
Yeah, if they're hacking into the computer systems and releasing information that influences our elections, that's troubling.
Okay, so let me ask you the last question. If you could go back and undo that, would you do so? Would you make it so American voters didn't know the information they got from the WikiLeaks emails?
I don't think a foreign country should be meddling in our
You're not answering my question.
I mean, regardless of what information is hacking what, that is the point. That is the main point.
Do you think it was a good thing or a bad thing that we knew that information before we voted?
I mean, it depends on where you're coming from. You know, if you want to know that information.
How about as a voter?
I don't know. Yeah.
As a voter, is it better or worse to have that information?
Having all your information is what you want from a voter, but having it hacked by a foreign government is not what you want.
So you like the ends but not the means?
I don't want a foreign country hacking into any information in our elections and the president-elect just blowing it off like it's not a big deal.
All right. I'm still having trouble understanding your argument, but thank you for the game attempt. I appreciate it. Paul.
Okay.
See ya. Well, were you ever